Hello, my fantasy friends. Welcome to another edition of Starting Lineup, a solo edition. Andrew Wiebe still on his way back from Arizona after that U.S.-Mexico game. I'm going to get to your questions in just a moment, but first, a few news and notes, and we're going to start at the top of the list, and that, of course, is Jermaine Defoe out for the game against Columbus this weekend. Whoever are you going to replace him with? If you don't have him already, the answer is Federico Higuain. If you do have Higuain, I like Kenny Miller, Robbie Keane, and Marco Di Vaio. They all have decent matchups this week. Also of note, Stephen Caldwell suspended for the game for Toronto. Toronto backline down a man. What does that mean? It means pick up Federico Higuain. I just told you that. Seriously. No sure bet that Columbus is going to roll over Toronto on Saturday, but if you needed a reason to pick up Bernardo Honor or Josh Williams, you have it now. Chris Rolfe traded to DC United. What do we make of that? Honestly, it's a non-factor in fantasy at this point. I think Rolfe needs to show something on the field before I drop any fantasy dollars on him. Now, let's get to the fan questions, and we're going to start with Isaac. He says, do I include Diego Fagundes or Perry Kitchen in my lineup this week? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Perry Kitchen will not score this weekend, and I don't think DC is going to get a shutout either, so that limits really what Kitchen can bring you. As far as Fagundes, if he's still on your team, I don't think he's a terrible start. I think he's bound to score at some point. New England may be finding their groove after that victory last week in San Jose. I say you go with Fagundes given the choice of the two. Question number 2 coming in from Gordon. He says, can I rely on Dallas and Seattle defenders for some shutout points this weekend? No. That's it. Question 3. Mohammed, he wants to know, I have 4 forwards, Bruin, Higuain, Vicente Sanchez, and Harrison Shipp. Which 3 do I start? This one is easy for me. Sit Sanchez because that PK streak has got to come to an end. Seriously, Shipp is more likely to get bonus points on either side of the field. He's playing at home, he serves set pieces, and Philadelphia has given up goals off of set pieces in half of their road games so far. I also worry that Colorado could limit Sanchez's minutes in Vancouver on that turf at age 34. Number 4 comes from Ashley, and she says, any ideas what to do with $8 million? I need a midfielder with all the double game weeks coming up. Who do you like besides Latu and Sam, who she already has on her team? Round 7, remember, Philadelphia has a double game week. Round 8, it's New York and Houston with the double game week. Out of all the guys for $8 million or less that I saw out there, Dax McCarty really the only guy who stuck out to me. I think he's the one you want to buy. Ricardo Clark maybe, but I like McCarty more. Next question coming in from Skylar Redpath, former MLS fantasy champion. He asks, any concern that Zuzi or Donovan don't see the field this weekend? That is a great question from a great fantasy player. The answer here, no. Donovan has until Sunday. Of course, their game against Chivas is until Sunday. He played less than a half. He said after the game he knows his body and he will be ready to go on game day. As for Sporting Kansas City, they want to win this game on Saturday. They do not like Real Salt Lake. I don't see them resting Graham Zusi. He's another guy, didn't play 90 minutes either. I didn't see him take any major knocks. I expect him to be out there helping your fantasy team. All right, this one is not a question, but it's a public service announcement from your boy Adriano out there, because he said, I had a dream last night, and if you play MLS Fantasy, you should pick up Obafemi Martins. If he's a sage of any sort, I want you to know that that information is out there. Remember, Clint Dempsey coming back into the lineup for Seattle could help Obafemi Martins. He looked good against Mexico at times. All right, one more question coming in here from Los Angeles SRH. He or she says, which Galaxy players are worth adding in round 5? I'm going to tell you the sage-like feeling that I have. I think Landon Donovan is going to have a little bit of extra motivation for this game after not starting in the U.S.-Mexico game. He may or may not be wearing my fantasy captain's armband this week. So I'd go with Landon Donovan if I were you. That's all I have for this edition of Starting Lineup. If you haven't already, check out Wiebe's Studs and Duds from earlier in the week in Arizona. It was quality. It's worth a few minutes of your time. And if it's not and you're mad at me, you can tweet at Jason Saghini and let me know how you feel about Andrew Wiebe's hotel room. All right. That's all I have for this edition. Of course, we'll be back on Starting Lineup next week. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy some pretty big early season matchups, and we'll see you again next week.